Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon Movesets video. Today's video is going to be all about Jynx, so let's get started by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So to start things off, Jynx is an Ice Psychic type Pokemon introduced in Generation 1 that possesses 3 abilities, the first of which being Oblivious, which is a great ability because it allows you to not be taunted by your opponents or be infatuated, whether it be by the move Attract or as a result of the Q Charm ability. As for its second ability, it is known as Forewarn, which is a cool ability that allows you to see your opponent's strongest attack. And its last ability, its hidden ability Dry Skin, is actually really great in that it allows you to not only get an immunity to water type attacks, but also recover health when being attacked by a water type move or while rain is up on the battlefield, while also simultaneously giving you a greater weakness to fire type moves. But being an ice type, you're already watching out for those anyway, so there really is no drawback to using this on Jynx when you want to make use of this Pokemon. But for the stats, defensively, it's not so great with base 65 HP, 35 defense, and 95 special defense. But offensively, it does have a really great base 115 special attack and a really nice speed stat being base 95. However, its physical attack is fairly low, being only base 50, so more often than not, you're going to be seeing Jynx used as a fast and powerful special attacker. So with that, let's take a look at the first moveset that I have for you in this video. So for this first moveset, we're going to run Jynx as a choiced special attacker. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Timid nature to increase its speed but lower its physical attack, go with the Dry Skin ability, and an EV spread of 4 defense, 252 special attack, and 252 speed EVs to max out both of those stats. And for the item on the set, we can either go with the Choice Scarf to increase your speed while locking you into a move, or Choice Specs to increase your special attack while locking you into a move. But for those moves, the first one that we're going to go with is going to be our main stab Psychic move in the form of Psychic to hit our opponent's special defensive stat, or Psyshock to hit our opponent's physical defense. And both of these moves can kind of be used interchangeably. It really depends on what you expect Jynx to be matched up against, whether you're going to want it to have a higher or a powerful Psychic stab move that hits your opponent's special defense or their physical defense as mentioned before. But your Ice type stab on the set is going to be Ice Beam, and then for your third and fourth move slots, there are a couple of options that you can go with. For your third slot, you can either go with Focus Blast for additional coverage specifically against the Steel type Pokemon that Psychic and Ice Beam are ineffective against, or you could potentially go with Lovely Kiss on the set to give this Pokemon a way of putting its opponents to sleep. As for your last move slot, Energy Ball again is a nice coverage option for you to make use of, but you could also go with Trick as a way to trick your choiced item onto an opponent, thus crippling their ability to make use of their move set because they're now going to be locked into a move that they maybe didn't intend to be locked into. Now the cool thing about this is you can actually use these interchangeably, so if you want to go with Focus Blast and Lovely Kiss, you can do that. Or go with Energy Ball and Trick, you can do that, or just going with Trick and Lovely Kiss combined as a way to not only trick something to an opponent, making them significantly crippled if they're not a choiced attacker, and also then put something to sleep afterwards, basically crippling 2 Pokemon on your opponent's team very substantially. But overall, this set just takes advantage of Jynx's great special attack and speed set, and turns it into an even more potent special attacker. As for this next moveset, we're going to be turning Jynx into a very powerful boosting sweeper. So we're going to start this one off again with a Timid nature, the Dry Skin ability, and the same EV spread as before, but this time our item choices are either going to be Normalium Z or a Life Orb to boost the power of all of our attacks at the cost of losing 10% of our health every time we damage our opponents. But the reason for using Normalium Z on the set, if you would like to, is to be used in combination with the first move, Lovely Kiss, which is a great move, as mentioned before, that puts opponents to sleep, but when used in combination with Normalium Z, will also increase your speed stat by 1 stage, which is something that Jynx has previously been unable to do. So this is a very big deal, especially due to the fact that it can do this while simultaneously putting something to sleep. But once your opponent is asleep, you're then pretty much free to go for a Nasty Plot, which will give you a +2 special attack boost in addition to your +1 speed boost if using this with Normalium Z, thus turning Jynx into an incredibly powerful boosted attacker that is able to then potentially sweep your opponent if you get the chance. But for your main attacks on the set, Psychic and Psyshock again are going to be your main Psychic type stab move, and then Ice Beam or Focus Blast is going to be a great coverage option. You could also theoretically run Ice Beam and Focus Blast as your 2 attacks, but I've had more success with running a Psychic type move, so do keep that in mind when using this moveset, but you're free to change it up as you please. Moving on to the third moveset, we're going to run Jynx as a very effective Perish Trapper, which is something that this Pokemon pretty much never is seen doing, but can do better than many other Perish Song users in the game, due to the fact that it has a higher speed stat than most of them, and also access to a move to put opponents to sleep, making your job of Perish Trapping even easier. So with this, we're again going to go with the Tib of Nature to boost our speed but lower our physical attack, but for our ability this time, choosing either Oblivious or Dry Skin, mainly Oblivious because of the fact that we're not actually using any attacking moves on this set, and Oblivious will prevent us from being taunted by our opponents. But for our EVs, this time we're going to put 248 into its HP stat, 8 into its defense, and 252 into its speed stat to make it as fast as possible while giving it the highest HP stat that we can give an ice type Pokemon because of its weakness to Stealth Rock. And because we're not invested at all in special attack on this set, HP is just the way to go for EV investment. But for our item, because we're going to want to recover health and be sustained throughout the battle, we're going to go with Leftovers as a way to then recover health at the end of every turn by a little bit. But for the moves, the first one on the set that we're going to go with is going to be Mean Look as a way to trap opponents and make it so that they cannot escape. Once they are trapped, we're then going to go for Lovely Kiss as a way to put them asleep and make it so that they are unable to attack you. Then after that, we're going to go for Perish Song as a way to put that 3-turn countdown timer on both you and your opponent, but because they're trapped, they will be unable to switch out, whereas you are free to do so on the final turn so that you don't faint but your opponent does. And to support you all the way throughout this, we're also going to be running Substitute on this set to get behind a protective barrier to shield you from attacks and statuses while you try to Perish Trap your opponent. So theoretically, you're going to substitute on a turn where they're already asleep, and then just, go for another substitute even if you're already behind a sub until they eventually wake up, put them back to sleep, and then switch out when Perish Song ends, more or less. It's a very easy set to use, and it's very effective, and something that I'm really surprised that I've never seen other people use Jynx for, because of how great it can make use of a Perish Trapping set. And finally, for the last moveset of this video, we're going to be running Jynx as a Hail support Pokemon. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Tib of Nature like before, and either the Oblivious or Dry Skin ability also like before, mainly because we're using a few non-attacking moves on the set that Jynx would really benefit from not being taunted and being unable to use. But Dry Skin, more or less, will probably be just as effective in the long run. But for the EVs, we're going to put 4 into its defense, 252 into its special attack, and 252 into its speed stat like we've been running on the more offensive sets. But for the item this time, we're going to run either Light Clay to extend the turns of our screens from 5 to 8, or the Icy Rock to extend the turns that we set up Hail for from 5 to 8. But for the first move on the set, we're again going to go with Lovely Kiss, just because putting something to sleep just gives you some fantastic utility and one of the main reasons why Jynx is a great Pokemon. But along with this, we're also going to be running Hail on this moveset to set up Hail on the battlefield, damaging your opponents, and also potentially supporting your team by allowing you to spam blizzards or gain access to the Ice Body ability, among other things. Also, once the Hail is up, we will then have access to making use of Aurora Veil, which will allow us to basically simultaneously put up Light Screen and Reflect in the same turn, significantly increasing your Pokemon's defensive stats and allowing you to take hits very easily. And this is why you would make use of the Light Clay item here, because the support that you get from having those dual screens up, quote-unquote dual screens, for 8 turns is absolutely amazing. But along with this, we're also going to be running 1 stab attack in the last move slot, either the form of Blizzard, which we can now use because it's going to be 100% accurate in Hail, or like before, going with Psychic or Psyshock. But either way, with this set, the last move will just still give you some great coverage in a very great set that allows you to support Hail members of your team very well, and also simultaneously status things by putting them to sleep at the same time. But anyways, everybody, that is it for this video, so thank you all for watching my Jynx moveset video, and as always, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.